Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I am your host, DJMaverick. Today, we have another banger of an episode. We have the one and only Travis Shinn. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing great, dude.
I'm excited to have you on the podcast. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff, but for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
See here, I grew up in Yukon, actually, just 15 minutes west of Oklahoma City. I just went to high school there, public schools and all that stuff, nothing fancy.
Cool.
Went to college at Oklahoma City University.
Okay.
Growing up, my family owned a heat and air company. So grew up doing heat and air. Time I was 13, I was tossed out in a truck.
You were in the summers, you were like out working in the heat. And,
oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, running tools up in the attics and stuff.
What was that like?
I mean, it's all I knew.
Yeah.
All my friends would go out and go to church camps or go play whatever. And I'm in an attic, installing an air conditioner or fixing something.
Those attics in the summertime are no joke, right?
Oh yeah, like that definitely. I still remember after I graduated college, like I just graduated, it was that summer. I'm in an attic. It's 140 degrees before I light the torch up.
140.
Before the torch. And I'm, at this point I have my license. I'm running my own truck.
Okay.
And I light this torch. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Like I'm on my belly because it's a horizontal unit, super tight.
Okay.
Brand new house over at Home Creations. And man, it was like, this is ridiculous. I've got a nice college degree. And after that, like, I was like, I've got to do something else.
So that's when you decided I don't want to go into the family business sort of thing or what?
That's what kind of sealed it, I think. Yeah. It was the realization that, I think my dad and I had a big talk and it was like, I can do more in IT and stuff.
Sure.
As far as providing for myself, there's not two spots for two owners.
Okay.
So
got it.
Is that decision?
And you're always working in one extreme or the other, right? Like they'll call you if, of course, the heat is out, and then they'll call you if the AC is out, right? So, like the conditions are probably miserable either way, right?
There's some really cold days where I remember, like, whenever you do duct work, you have to seal it with like what they call mastic. It's like a very sticky putty stuff.
Yeah.
I remember winters where it was so cold it was actually frozen. So we had these kerosene heaters we'd put it next to thaw it out enough so it could slather it on around the ductwork.
That sounds amazing.
That was pretty miserable. And then once again, the 140 degree attics.
Yeah.
Before you light the torch is but it built a lot of character.
I was going to say, it probably like gave you sort of like foundation of like money, appreciation for hard work.
Oh yeah. And then troubleshooting. I mean, you're out there going to service calls, fixing air conditioners and stuff. Like, I don't know a lot of 15-year-olds that are reading schematics and fixing stuff. So, no, I learned a lot from it. I love it. I still love the company. Like, I'm still passionate about like heat load calculations, stuff like that. Like, at one point, I went and got actually a national license for energy auditing.
What is that exactly?
It's about energy efficiency of a building.
Okay.
So, like, you would go in and run what they call a blower door test where you check the airflow, like leakage.
I see.
Making sure that like the sizing of the air conditioner is perfect for that house. So you're putting in, this gets really nerdy, but like values of windows.
That's why we're here. We're here to nerd out.
Insulation values, stuff like that. You build out a floor plan on the computer and run calculations and stuff. And like, I was doing all that at one point and it was just, honestly, there's no money in it. OG&E came through and like, we'll do this for free. And I was like, I hate you guys. It was right around the same time. And it was my junior year in college. And I started that. I actually started LLC. I was like, going to make my own business.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, no, kill it.
I mean, OG&E came in and did it for free. And I was like, there's no money in this now. So,
man, it's crazy.
Bail.
So we worked together at one point in time, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we would always have random discussions. So one of the things that we always geeked out about was music, right? Yeah. So you have a deep appreciation for music, which I think is kind of unique because some people say they like music, but then there's like us that like nerd out, right? So today you sort of brought kind of like your setup, which you call portable, but most people would be like, what in the world? So kind of walk us through like what this is for the people out there that, they're probably not familiar with the setup, right? So you've got an iPad, but that's probably the only thing that they're going to recognize here.
I mean, it's just headphones and an amp. It's nothing crazy, but what it is like, especially now with audio, for a long time, audio was great. You had vinyl records, and it sounded like vinyl. And then CDs came out, and CDs had this resolution that was perfect, theoretically, at that time.
And then, but you're skipping a whole step with one was analog and one was digital.
Yeah.
Right.
When we went from analog to digital, it changed. So you lost the hisses and pops. You gained fidelity.
Yeah.
And then came around Napster and blew it all up, where they started compressing this ever-loving snot out of music.
Right. So all the highs, all the lows, it just sounds horrible. It's everything. All those frequencies are cut, basically. Right.
Yeah. Hilariously enough, everyone says no highs, no lows, must be bows. I don't know if you've heard that before.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's the generalized, like, that whole era. Like, it was cool because it democratized music. It made it to where, there's so much more music than there ever was back then. You don't have to be in a major anymore. But with that, you lost a lot of quality. And now all these services like Tidal came around first, really. And then, so blank on the name. You have Deezer, you have Apple's now doing it with lossless. You're getting all this lossless music again, so you got to get the full quality.
It's an add-on, right? So if you like want to geek out on the audio quality, you have to pay for that hi-fi, right?
And with that, like the Bluetooth headphones, like your Beats, your AirPod Pros, your AirPod Pro Max, even. They sound great.
Yeah.
And if you're not a total dork, you love it.
It's fine, right?
But my whole life on everything I do, I can't just go part way. I have to go to the extreme.
Exactly.
So the way you do that is you have to get a DAC, and this right here has a built-in multi-bit DAC.
And a DAC is a digital
analog converter, yeah.
Okay.
And then you have Delta Sigma DACs, which are 1 bit, and then they pulse really, really, really fast to differentiate. And then you have multi-bit, which is what this is.
Okay.
Where each bit is bit perfect, so it's 1-to-1 on its translation.
Okay. So you're taking the digital signal from your iPad and then making it analog in essence, right?
Yeah, and then amplifying it to headphones so that you can actually power these.
And those headphones are pretty beefy.
They're...
Which headphones are those?
These are an Audi's LCD2 closed. Okay. They're a magnetic planar headphone. And it's one of those things, like, with music, what happened to me is, I love bumping crappy punk rock music and rap in my truck when I'm driving around. Like,
give us your playlist, like typical, like day in the day in the life of Travis. Man. What are you bumping?
It's whatever's new. My favorite day of the week is Friday, not because it's the last day of the work week, but because Apple releases all their new music on Friday
for sure.
And I will listen to a minimum of 3 or 4 albums, even if I don't know who they are. Just that looks kind of cool and check it out. Things like podcasts, like I like music podcasts to find new things, like. So it varies greatly. Like Blink-182 put out a new song the other day. Yeah. Obviously, I'm loving that. That's like my childhood.
Yeah, they just got together. Like Tom is back in the band.
Yeah.
They're like lining up a whole like tour around it and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Like on the way in, actually, I was listening to the new Kid Cudi Intergalactic album.
Okay.
Still need to watch that show. Actually, I don't know if you follow that, but on Netflix, he put out a like anime type thing.
Okay.
That goes with the music and stuff. So I need to check that out. But big Kid Cudi fan.
DJ Drama's coming with his whole series again. I don't know if you saw that.
That's I did not, cool. But I have to check that one out.
Yeah.
See here. It just really varies. Because I've been listening to No Jumper more recently, like some of the stuff they put on there.
Okay.
I don't know if you've listened to Drake's new album. I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
With that really fast-paced thing.
Yep.
And evidently that's like more of a Jersey club rap is what they're calling it.
Yep.
So like Bandman Real and stuff like that. I've been listening to some stuff like that.
Okay.
Like another thing I found in a jumper recently was Sad Boy Loco.
Okay.
Which is a little bit of like a West Coast Chicano style rap.
Nice.
Like it almost has, it's like a, Hispanic twist on like Snoop Dogg almost.
Yeah.
I really love the flow of that.
That's
just
awesome.
Different.
So you're not afraid to like sort of dip your toes in different genres, like whatever.
Oh no, and that's just when I'm driving around. Now I get home, and I have a theater at my house where I built out and stuff, and I
remember we were talking about that, and you were speccing out the speakers, the amplifiers. Like your setup at home is pretty legit as well.
Yeah, and so like that changes it too, because like at home, like, and this is funny because like I don't always listen to lossless music at home because they have Atmos music now.
Okay.
Which they're mixing for it, and it's pretty cool. Mike Dean is brilliant. Some of his stuff, he mixes Beyonce. He's mixed a bunch of Kid Cudi, Kanye West, Madonna.
So what is that like as far as like...
It envelops you. Like, so it's in the ceiling, it's around you, but it's mixed for like... It's like you're in the center of the music. Okay. So it does directional stuff. Like,
how many speakers do you need to sort of appreciate that?
You really need at least 2 overhead and like 5 around you.
Okay.
I have 4 overhead, 5 around me, and 2 subwoofers.
Nice.
So
I think you're covered.
Yeah, and like each subwoofer is like dual opposed, so it's really like technically 4 subwoofers that are in 2 boxes.
Okay.
But
Cool.
But like, so that's a whole different experience. So like, up there, like I like to listen to also vinyl up there. So like I'll put on like a Led Zeppelin album. Kid Cudi actually sounds great on vinyl.
I bet.
But funny enough, Linkin Park put out their 20th anniversary. Mm-hmm. I was so stoked, man. That was like my childhood was Linkin Park. Like,
do you geek out with like the 180 gram pressings of the vinyl or no?
There's no reason to buy anything else other than.
Yeah.
But
I figured that might be the case.
Yeah. But funny enough, Linkin Park actually changed my mind on vinyl.
Really?
It's terrible.
Really?
It really.
Why?
It's digital music. It was made digitally.
Okay.
It doesn't have that open liveliness that you'd expect from a vinyl record.
Yeah.
I never expected it.
That's
totally changed my mind on that.
I mean, I would have thought that they would have still left those frequencies there, that they wouldn't have been cut during the recording.
I guess they just did when they recorded it. I mean, at the time in 2000, I mean,
true.
There's no reason to have them.
Yeah. They're probably like everybody's listening on, their sort of like headphones, their earbuds, like nobody's really like rocking a 10 speaker system like you are or whatever.
Well, I mean, in 2000, I mean, everyone I knew had the 6-disc, boombox changer with 2 speakers. You could kind of separate off a little bit. Like, everyone had, there's like 3 or 4 brands. Like you had your Sony one, pretty much everyone had.
Right.
I got a Pioneer one, but it had, the 2 tape, cassette deck.
Yeah.
The 6-disc changer and a radio. And like, that's.
Yeah. You've always been into music, or you just got into music the older you got, or what?
My whole life, man. Growing up, my mom and stuff. My mom's a giant concert junkie. Went to tons. Yeah, she sells all of her ticket stubs.
Okay.
She's been to hundreds and hundreds of concerts and stuff.
So did she influence your music taste, or what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Growing up, like we would, always share music back and forth. We still do to this day. She'll find something cool, it's new, or whatever. Like Greta Van Fleet. First time I heard it was from my mom.
Cool.
Which and she's always sending me weird like indie rock and stuff. But yeah, I mean, she's seen it all in person.
That's awesome.
Like we went to see Santana together. That was still one of the coolest concerts I've ever done.
Where'd you see him?
At the Cox.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I was in middle school.
Okay. Nice.
But it was awesome, man. Like,
I bet.
So like, yeah, music with my mom and I, that's always been our bonding thing, Like I remember the kid 3 Doors Down and Nickelback. I'm not going to lie. Nickelback's first album when it came out was great.
No way. All right. That's it. Cut the podcast. It's a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen.
No, like I will die on this hill.
Way.
Whenever Nickelback's very first album came out, it was good.
What song? I don't even know what song is on there. So what's like the song?
I can't even think of the names of the songs on the first one. The second album was where This Has How You Remind Me came out.
Yeah. Was it Photograph? Was that on the...
No, that was on like the third album.
Okay.
So this is before that. Like
You're
before
still not convincing me here with...
go back and listen to it. It's way harder than the stuff you recognize with them.
Really?
And they went corporate, and I don't blame them because they made a ton of money. They still sell out arenas.
Yeah. But they become like basically the meme of a bad band. Like everybody agrees universally pretty much. Like...
You say that, but then they sell out arenas. So like it's the weirdest thing ever.
But are people going just as like sort of like this is a funny type thing, or are they going because they're truly fans?
I think there's a lot of fans out there.
Yeah.
Nickelback still. I mean, if you put on a song, people sing to it.
I was not prepared for this discussion.
I know you weren't.
I figured we were going to be talking hip hop and stuff. All of a sudden, Nickelback.
We're going everywhere, man.
So you'll die on the hill. Nickelback is a good band. They're talented.
Their first stuff, absolutely.
Okay.
And then it just got repetitive and boring and old. And like, I can't listen to their newer album straight through at all. I can maybe listen to one song and I'm like, I'm done with this.
Do they even have new music?
I have no idea. I don't follow them. I'm not like a massive Nickelback fan.
Right.
I do like to acknowledge that like,
they
were the first with that kind of sound that came out, like 3 Doors Down and them, and there's a couple bands at that time.
I don't know if I would put 3 Doors Down in the same category as
it was all the same time period.
It was at the same time period, but as far as like sounds and
they're different, definitely.
For sure.
But anyway,
okay. Interesting. All right, so you're listening to Nickelback here on your
totally,
digital audio converter.
I mean, I haven't listened to it in a long time, probably, but
yeah.
But also, I mean, back then it was you had your Eminem and Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit and Korn, like every kid, the angry I'm a
right. I got a rebel sort of thing.
Oh yeah. So,
top 5 rappers. What do you got?
Oh man. See here, in no particular order. I love Kid Cudi.
Okay.
He has just that humming, weird vibe and stuff, chill music. Like,
yeah, definitely unique.
You put it on a vinyl record player and sit down and have a glass of whiskey, and that night slips away.
Yeah.
No one else does that for me quite like that. As far as what they do to music, Kanye West, I hate to say that right now. Like, this is the worst time ever. As far as music goes, he's great. As far as a human goes, what I know now kind of really just blown my mind, trashy. Like, I can't support it. And it, fashion wise, all that stuff, I was a big fan. And then, can't defend it.
Deep in my heart, I'm a creative. I'm an artist. Like and I appreciate people that do cool things and that they go all out for their dream, right? Like, I don't know if you've seen the Genius documentary.
It's a great documentary.
Like seeing his struggle where he's like, hey, listen to my song. And he's in like the Rockefeller offices. Nobody's paying attention. Some random secretary. Like, we've seen the greatest rise and the greatest fall, like, in real time.
Yeah. And after the very first, couple things, I was like, man, it's getting bad. And then it's got worse and worse on social media. Yeah. I'm like watching this happen. Like, I'm on Reddit looking at stuff. I'm like, good Lord, man, stop. And then he says the DEF CON thing. I'm like, I can't go back from this.
It's crazy.
And then I was like, please just go on a podcast and be like, I didn't mean it quite like that. And then he like doubles down. I'm like,
no. Dude. I mean, he was even on, I think, Drink Champs, and he was like, Adidas cannot cancel my contract no matter what I say.
And then the next day,
what happens?
Yeah, and I love Adidas. I was an Adidas fan before Kanye. I'm still an Adidas fan. I also love the Yeezy clothes. The shoes were super comfy. I think you actually introduced them to me back at the Devon days.
Right. And now I'm like, do I even want to wear them anymore? Am I going to get like all these people judging me like, hey, you're still supporting Kanye? I've got this huge like collection. I don't know what to do, if I'm being honest.
I don't either. Like, two of the Yeezy Gap hoodies, the original ones or ever. I have a blue one and a black one. Okay. My favorite hoodies. I love those things. I'm not wearing it right now, if you can tell.
Right.
I just can't do it right now. Maybe time will heal some wounds there, or I'll forget. I don't know.
I just don't know where he goes because, so supposedly, Adidas cut him. Mm-hmm. He randomly showed up to Skechers and they're like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if he keeps up, streaming services are probably next. His music's going to get pulled.
Well, do you see that Apple pulled his Essentials playlist?
They already did?
And then after that, people complained that R. Kelly started an Essentials playlist, and then they pulled R. Kelly's.
Really?
That happened today. It was pretty crazy.
I didn't even see what happened to these. So it's already started.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Spotify pulls it soon because people are really pressuring Spotify right now. So.
And then I start to think about like large venues, right? Like Live Nation, they basically own all the large concerts, right?
Well, they already canceled his headliners for next year, and he had a list like he had Donda 2 with the new album. I don't know if it's going to be called that or not.
Yeah.
He had on the stem player that he released, which I have one of those.
You have that, right?
Yeah, I bought it the day it came out with the original Donda because I wanted to hear it first.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, once again, big Kanye is obviously the top of 5 for me as far as actual music goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's all scrapped. Stem broke away from him. They dropped it. Like you used to be able to go log into the Stem player website and listen to Donda 2, even though it wasn't fully complete. You could still listen to it. That's off there now.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Like he's broken everything, man, and it's rightfully so. Like I wouldn't do business with him right now.
Yeah, Chase was like, "Hey, we don't care how much billions you have. You can't bank with us."
Yeah, I mean, just don't ever single out a group of people.
Yeah. If
you want to call out an individual all day long, that's fine. Like that's the way the world works.
Right.
But that's just crazy, man. Like,
I don't know how he sort of like takes any of that back or goes like, I don't know what he does at this point.
But what's interesting is I actually was listening to the No Jumper podcast on one of their just generalized talk, not a guest, just general discussion.
Yeah.
And I realized a lot of the hip hop community is pretty anti-Semitic. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but like Jay-Z, go listen to his 444 album, the last one he put out. There's some pretty crazy lyrics in there when you go back and listen to it now.
Okay.
And I honestly, not gonna lie, I had a discussion with a coworker, a really good friend, who is Jewish, and like by heritage, he's not like practicing Judaism, but he's Jewish. Yeah. And he's explaining how the anti-Semitism works, and it was really fascinating because, like, to me, before this, I never knew that by saying, Jewish people are predominantly bankers or something like that was super racist or some anti-Semitic. Right. And he started explaining to me like how that became, like how Hitler used that to put people against him. And even back in the Roman days, like way back, that Christians weren't allowed to be bankers. So Jews took up that trait, and then it became a bunch of jealousy. And there's just been for 2,000 years, there's been people hating on Jewish people. Mm-hmm. I would, not knowing better, think that if I said, oh man, like, you know, you're doing awesome as a banker, like that's a compliment to me.
Right. Yeah. But you just don't know the history.
But knowing the history, like it really changed that. And I was like, man, like then I go listen to Jay-Z. I'm like, man, this is rough. And like Jay-Z's probably would have been another of my top five. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm a terrible human now.
Man, so far we just have Kid Cudi that's surviving your list.
And I mean, Kid Cudi's been a train wreck too. This is the last rap album he just put out, he said. Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, you saw what was that festival? He got like hit with a water bottle and walked off stage.
I don't even know.
That happened just like a month ago. Okay. So, I mean, he's not doing great either. Mike Dean turned on him.
Kendrick Lamar, please do not screw up.
Oh, man, yes.
Like somebody protect him at all costs.
Yes, he is a national treasure at this point. J. Cole, too, I'll throw him in there.
J. Cole.
But then also shifting a little bit, I enjoy certain country rap stuff.
Okay.
There's Ryan Upchurch or Upchurch. Mm-hmm. You have Adam Calhoun, Struggle Jennings, Jelly Roll.
Okay.
You have this group of people that are putting out some pretty decent stuff. I think when I worked at Devin, I told you, like, man, this genre's coming up.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was trying to find like a good example, and there wasn't that many.
Yeah, because
it's gotten better.
Like I think some people have sort of experimenting with mixing those two genres, but it hasn't really like taken off, or anybody's taking it serious so far. Right?
And I would say Upchurch, he's independent, so you're not going to hear it on the radios.
Okay.
But you're going to hear some pretty cool stuff. Go listen to YZ. He actually brought a dirt bike into this music studio, and you hear vroom vroom like throughout it, like that's part of the song. And
nice.
Yeah, like it'll get you amped. Like it is some good lifting music. Some of the stuff gets overly political, which I'm not. Obviously, I'm very moderate on everything. Mm-hmm. So I kind of shy away from some of the songs. Like, so don't judge me on everything that they say, but there's some of the best workout rap music I have is some country rap from Adam Calhoun and Ryan Upchurch.
Yeah, I would say my playlist in the gym is definitely different than my playlist in the car, my playlist at work. Like, it just depends on what I'm doing, and I want to set that vibe.
Oh yeah, man.
It always changes for sure.
Absolutely. Like at work, like for work stuff, like I need something chill and vibe-ish. You know, Kid Cudi's great, but like Phineas, I've been loving some of that, man. You get it on a good headphones. Like I have a similar headphone setup at work. Like it's headphones are a little bit cheaper. The actual DAC and stuff, it's not balanced. So it's not quite as great as this, but it's still.
So I would say that people like, you know, now that we're all digital music, they're still sort of like chasing that analog warmth feel, right? So is that kind of what you get out of your setup? Is you get like a warmer tone to the music, or what?
That's actually what the multi-bit DAC, remember I said it was bit perfect, so it does bit for bit. It sounds a lot more natural with it than you do get from a normal Delta Sigma DAC. So like everything just about on this planet has a DAC. Your cars have DACs. I mean, it converts analog signals to digital, or digital analog signals. There's also ADCs too, which is analog digital. They go both ways.
And sometimes we don't realize that. So the DAC that's in whatever device we're using could be coloring that sound, right?
Oh yeah. I mean that, and then also the speakers and stuff too. It's.
This is where we nerd out, and most people are like, "Oh, it sounds like okay, I guess." Like, it's fine.
I drive my wife nuts. So we go to Life Church out in Yukon, and there for about a month, they were clipping on the mics whenever they were singing. And every time it clipped, I was like, like my wife's like, "This is great," and I'm like,
"You're like, let me go fix the EQ real quick."
I wanted to like walk back there and be like, "Move out of the way," and like push him over and like fix it because it, So it's one of those things like once you hear it, you know it,
right?
And I wish I never would have heard it all most of the times because it definitely just changed it.
So now you can't really listen to music in just like a regular setup.
Oh, I totally can. Like my truck, you know, like I drive an F-150. Mm-hmm. It has the Sony just, you know, system in it. It's not anything special. It's not anything bad.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I'm surprised you haven't like upgraded the whole setup there too.
You know, I almost did at one point. I backed off. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this for what it is. Whenever I'm walking around and stuff, like you can't carry this with you. Like you have to be plugged in. So, I mean, I have some Bang & Olufsen H9i headphones for just portable stuff.
Okay.
Still really nice headphones, but you know, it's Bluetooth at that point. So it's, you know, and once again, the music changes. Like stuff like Phineas sounds, the better the quality you put it on there, the better it sounds.
Okay.
Certain older records, like some of your Led Zeppelins and stuff, man, you can put it on the best system ever and it just sounds better. Billie Eilish is one of those, which when again, Phineas produces her stuff. That's her brother. So makes sense.
I would say you also get the opposite effect where if something was recorded really badly, it's going to stand out 1,000% more on like a true setup versus like just your Bluetooth headphone.
Oh, right? Yeah. Most rap sounds like total dog crap on that, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially with all the lo-fi hip hop and stuff, I imagine, right?
Well, some lo-fi is almost so vibe-ish that it actually almost goes the opposite. Like it's almost like there's like a curve there, and like you almost hit the other end.
It's like
it gets so bad it gets good again.
Yeah.
And also it's the fidelity they're recording in. So the lo-fi is kind of a misnomer at times. It's not necessarily low bit rate. It's just a genre.
Yeah.
So,
the way that it's EQ'd to the frequencies that are cut off, all that. Yeah, for sure.
So
cool. So, you growing up with your dad sort of like doing his thing, you've sort of saw him grow up from the ground up, right? Like, what are some of the lessons for like maybe people that want to be an entrepreneur that you sort of got out of that?
Number one thing is treat your people right and be honest. Growing up, I saw my dad lots of times make hard decisions. He always put his employees first. Like I remember being out in the shop or whatever, and we knew someone was having a hard time. My dad would take money out of his own wallet and give it to him.
Okay.
Another thing, my dad, he collected a paycheck from TSC Air too. Like he did not get more ever. It was his paycheck.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It never was a profit sharing thing or anything like that. It was always, he had a set salary.
Okay.
So whenever he gave them money, it wasn't like he was giving them company money. That was actually his money.
Got it.
It was, but like, I've seen stuff like that. Like I remember one of the most important messages was right after 9/11 happened. We had a Muslim employee working for us. Great guy. My dad pulled him in and said, "Hey man, just so you know, if anyone says anything, come talk to me. We'll take care of it."
Okay.
That we know that is not you. And like at a point in time, whenever there was a lot of Muslim fear and stuff, like just stuff like that, like he was very.
That goes a long way.
Yeah, like he really does love his guys. It may not always feel like that whenever he's sitting about to a crap job or whatever, or having to get onto him, but like. That's number one, I think, is that if you're willing to put it, take care of your people, they see it overall. Also being honest with the builders and stuff, like trying to keep costs down. We're what we call a volume new construction based heat and air company.
Okay.
We do lots and lots and lots of volume at a lot lower cost than a lot of other companies.
I see.
Whereas, some of the other bigger companies like Air Comfort Solutions, which are a lot bigger than us, they're service based, cost a little bit more at times. But just totally different business strategy. Not going to go in there and talk trash about other companies, but I mean, we all have opinions. But
what about from like a financial perspective? Any financial lessons out of that?
One of the things my dad always taught me was try to be debt free. Like one of my aspirations is to get my house paid off. That's the only debt I have. Don't spend money before you have it. Delay gratification. Whenever we were growing up and stuff, he was out grinding, doing rent houses and stuff for a long time. Sold those off and was able to turn some profit eventually with it. But like he would go out to the banks, and this is his side hustle on top of running his company, because TSC Heat and Air at that point wasn't profitable really that well yet to support an entire family. So they were doing rent houses. He'd go to a bank on an auction, get a house for $30,000 that was trashed, go in and do all the work himself. And do the drywall.
Flip it or rent it out?
Rent it out. At one point my parents had like 12 rent houses, but that was every one of those they bought low. And did a ton of manual work himself, and then sold high in the end. But that was actually right before like 2000. I think they sold around 2005, right before everything went under.
Okay.
He also has gotten really lucky a lot of times with that. But with the company though, it's just it's a lot of hard work. There's a level of luck involved. He'll be the first person to tell you that. But it's honesty, not going after your buddies and stuff. Like I remember as a kid. Growing up in Yukon, I was like, man, I want to own Yukon. I want that to be our territory. Like no one else is there. Cutthroat. And he's like, no. He's like, a guy that runs Rainbow Heat and Air named Danny. Best dude ever. Like good Christian man. Like prays before every meal. Like I wish I was more like him. Honestly, just such a good person. And he's like, that's Danny's out of Yukon too. You don't go cut friends' throats.
Okay.
And I remember that lesson as a kid. Still stuck with me and stuff. But like.
So what do you do if I imagine it's pretty saturated as far as the market, right? So you have to sort of be different in some way, right?
It's doing good work, getting your brand out, doing it for a long time, being consistent. Consistency is a big part of it. Running a business is, show up every day. You don't close down. I have know a lot of people that, they do it when it's convenient.
Right.
And stuff.
You always hear about the stereotypical, you call the AC guy and he's like out in the lake and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm booked up today or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That stuff. So, you can't be doing that if you're going to run a company. It's, keeping your debt low and stuff. And just being, honesty goes a long ways, and not being greedy. And even if it hurts you personally a little bit, knowing that it's for the company, it's for everyone else's sake. So sometimes you have to make those hard decisions. And I watched him consistently do that over the years. Also, some of it's getting the right people involved. Like, he hired a really awesome office manager who was a big part of the success. He had a good general manager for a long time. Cool. And also it's doing things a little bit different. Like, one of the things that we were doing is we would get the floor plan for our house before we went out to the job site. Yeah. We'd do a heat load calculation on it, draw out the blueprint, measure out all the duct work, and then have it drop shipped to that job site.
Oh, okay.
And whenever we started doing this, no one else was doing it at the time. I think some other companies do it now, but that was actually our general manager's idea. His name was Dale.
So you're just more efficient, better prepared.
Yeah, it was, we're a 15 crew company, but we were running as quick and fast as possible. I mean, I remember whenever I was doing it back in, codes have changed. It's a little bit more difficult to do it now, but we would do 3 houses in a day on a rough and running duct work. Okay. And no other company was doing that. Like, that's cool. I mean, there was a 4-person crew, and they were duplexes. So, I mean, they weren't massive, but we were still doing 3 systems in a day. And it was, you get in at 7, you work till 7 a lot of times, and you just work as hard as you can.
Man. So you think doing that, you sort of said, I don't want to be an entrepreneur, just seeing all the grind and all the work, or what?
I mean, I still did. Like, when I went to college, that was what my thought was and stuff. And it was just the realization that, I'll be honest, we made good money at Devon. Yeah. I work at Continental Resources now and stuff. I still make good money. Yeah. There wasn't a place at TS for me making money like that. Okay. While my dad was still there. Yeah. So it was, it's his company. Right. So I could make half of what I make now.
Yeah. How'd you end up in oil and gas? I don't think we've ever talked about that.
Oh yeah. So first I'll go back to college. I was a marketing and management major. Okay. And marketing, the scientific marketing, not the, what people think of marketing, where it's advertising. Yeah. That was a whole different career path. It was a nerdy marketing with stats. All right. But first job I got out of college, outside of heat and air, was working for Yellow Book. I actually went door to door selling getting advertising.
Like the Yellow Pages?
Yeah, the actual physical, phone books.
I didn't know
back
that.
in the day.
Okay. Yeah. What was that like?
It was interesting. So we did direct mailings, we did phone books, advertising side of it. We did websites, and websites was a new thing at the time. Sure. My territory was Northwest Oklahoma. Yeah. So I would base out of Woodward and drive around all the small towns out there and go door to door. Like, I'd go park in the center. Like, in small towns out there, you have like a town square almost a lot of times. Like, Alva's perfect. I mean, they have the quintessential town square where it's literally a square.
And they just all probably meet up all for around breakfast, like every morning. Probably the whole town's there or something, or what?
I mean, I don't know if it's that, but it's like all the businesses literally are around a square, and in the center of the square, a lot of times they have like a statue or a clock or something, and maybe a courthouse right there, but everything surrounds it. So I'd go park in the middle of that town, get my advertising, my briefcase out, my laptop, and I'd go door to door and be told no all day long. Man. Get a couple sales here and there. I mean, it was actually a pretty lucrative job. Okay. But man, I hated it. Yeah.
What did you hate most? Just the rejection, or just like?
I'm an introvert. I'm not a salesperson. Okay. I'd get in trouble because I'd give them the best deal possible. My dad's heat company, we used Yellow Book extensively. I knew what value they provided, so I believed in what I was selling. Yeah. But I also would care too much about customers than the company I work for. Right. That didn't go.
You cut them a deal.
I would cut as good of a deal as I could every single time. Yeah. I'm a terrible salesman. Yeah. And I realized that really quick. Okay. So after about a year of doing that and stuff, I was like, I'm going to start over right now while I'm still young. I mean, I'm still 23 at that point. Yeah. Let's start this over. So I got a job as an administrative coordinator at Hertz Rental Car. Really? In the performance planning group. Okay. So I'm a secretary now with a college degree from a private university that was prestigious. And I'm like,
man.
what? I'm like, so
what made you were you just trying to get your foot in the door into like IT, or what was the plan there?
I honestly didn't know what I was going to do. It was in performance planning, and I was a secretary for the manager of the performance planning group for the call center. Okay. So we did call volume stuff. We did offshores. We would, at Hertz, whenever there's an event going to happen, they would take cars from this region of the country, move it over here.
Oh, just kind of shift their resources.
And then also staffing for a call center. I mean, you have 300 people on the floor out there. So you're trying to staff for call volumes.
Okay.
So you don't want people sitting there doing nothing. You also want people on the phone. Like I remember building reports that would say, this is how long they'd stay on the phone until they hung up.
Yeah.
And we had stats like that. Like I remember I'd have spreadsheets and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah. Did you know how to do that already, or you were just kind of like learning as you go, Googling and
just learn as I go? I mean, like I was a computer nerd from a young age. Like I wrote my first website when I was 13 one summer. I was bored. I sat down and I was like, I'm going to write a website.
Nice.
So I taught myself how.
Okay.
My parents walked in at the end of the day and I'd been like sitting there like glued on the computer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look what I did. And it was like a working website.
Do you remember what it was? What was it a website for?
No idea.
No idea?
Yeah. It was just cool that you could click on stuff and it'd go to different pages and links and stuff. I mean, this is HTML. I don't even know, 2 or 3. It was old stuff. I mean, it's
funny. Just like basically just loading pages, navigating.
Yeah, navigating, embedding pictures, embedding music in it, stuff like that.
But that taught you their fundamentals.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So like I always had an affinity for computers and stuff. So I got to Hertz and I automated my job.
Really?
We did a lot of access reporting and Excel reports.
Yeah.
And we had some macros and stuff. So I started, stringing macros together and getting more intense. I taught myself how to do SQL at that point. Taught myself how to, code. I never had coded before. Actually, it's a fun story. Whenever I applied for Hertz, they made me take a test over Access. And I'd never done Access before in my life.
Nice.
But it was on my resume.
How did that go? Or what did you just
I had a 2-day cram session on how to do Access, and I scored advanced.
No way.
Yeah. So that was part of how I got the job, is I was the best Access score.
Okay.
But so coding makes sense to me. I like coding. It's fun. So we, I got the job there, automated it. They promoted me to systems analyst eventually.
So you go from
a secretary
to system analyst?
Yeah. And I was running the reservation employee tracking system. That was my main system that we developed in-house. And I had a team over in India, and I'm like leading the team out there.
That's awesome.
But man, I loved Hertz. I love my bosses. I still talk to them. Actually, one of my bosses is how I met my wife. Way after the fact.
Okay.
But they don't pay very well.
Yeah. But it sounds like you were doing stuff that was outside your role, which a lot of people, they let the role sort of define what they do day to day. But you were like learning SQL. You were like doing all this stuff outside your role, right?
Yeah. I mean, the second that you stop trying to elevate yourself is when you, like, why even go to work at that point if you're not going to try to constantly elevate?
Right.
I mean, that's why we got along so much at work, is you and I were always like, well, what if we did this instead? Like, I remember you, me, and Connor, a lot of times, there was the 3 of us.
Shout out to Connor. He's in Houston now, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. He's doing awesome. He's the director of technology for some service company that does like drilling.
Evolution.
Yeah, Evolution Well Services. Yeah. And, man, I'm so proud of that dude. Like, he's killing it, and he's so smart. And like,
we would always geek out like about data, especially like unstructured data, right? So maybe for the people listening, they probably don't have an idea what's structured versus unstructured. Tell us, like, what is unstructured data?
Okay, to put it simple, structured data is like imagine an Excel spreadsheet. It's in columns, it's in rows, it's very structured.
Yeah.
Unstructured is your legal document, your PDF file that has you don't know where the word's going to appear in there. You know it's going to be there possibly, but you don't know where.
Yeah, most of the times it's images. Right?
It's images. You OCR it so you can actually read it with the computer, and then
And that's kind of what you're doing now, is like a lot of the unstructured data, or what are you doing now?
And that's just kind of a small part. So going back to Devin, so we were all on the team. It was one of the funnest teams I've ever been on.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call from a buddy at Continental. He's like, give me your resume, put it in here.
Nice.
So I was like, okay, here it is. John Wynn, if you know him.
Yeah.
But so I was like, okay, I go and interview there. I begrudgingly left Devin at the time because they offered me a good amount of money. And and at the time Devin was doing layoffs like every couple months. So
for sure.
I was like, this is way safer. So let's do this.
Yeah.
So I get over there. I went to the land department. I actually was embedded in land. And in land, contracts are king. I mean, you go out and sign leases, you go out and sign contracts for stuff, and that's how that's what the land department does all day long. So you have all these leases, but part of the problem is getting that data out of them. So the main way that most companies do it is you have a program, like the main one's Quorum. It's actually what I support. Okay. But you have some other ones. P2 makes one. I can't think of the name of it. You have Landview, so other oil and gas companies. Sure. No one cares about those, but you have software that people go in, they read the lease, and you have a lease analyst manually typing in what the lease says.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do is, well, can we automate this? how do you do that? So you go in and you run OCR, optical character recognition. So it transforms an image into a readable like Word document effectively. Yeah. And then I run a program called Grouper. And actually, one of the cool things about Grouper, they're actually made in Oklahoma. BIS Software makes them. They're out there in Edmond. Shout out to them. They're some really good dudes, really smart.
Cool.
Love working with them. But with the Grouper platform, I can use a programming language called regex, which is pretty much patterns and stuff. So it's wildcards and different things like that to extract words and patterns of words, or patterns of characters. It doesn't really know words. It's patterns of characters.
Yeah.
So I will build different pattern sets, and then I will apply it to the document. And then I will say, does this match or not? So I'll put a level of fuzzy logic onto it, because whenever it reads a character, it might not always be the actual character, but it's close.
Sure, yeah.
So, if it's 75% of what we think it should look like, let's go ahead and grab that.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you apply a level of machine learning on top of that, to where you go through and train it, and you're like, yes or no. And then it learns that if it sees these words around it now,
so it's just
this is actually what we're looking for. So you just keep on working on it, keep on building on top of itself.
Do you remember why you sort of went into that industry at all?
Well, Sandridge grabbed me from Hertz. They scouted me.
Okay.
And I still remember that day. They offered me a significant more, and it really wasn't that much. I'll just say the number now. It was $45,000 is what they offered me.
Okay.
At Hertz, I made $37,000.
That's a jump.
At that point in my career, that was life-changing money for me.
Yeah.
That was crazy. My mind was blown. I remember going to Hertz and going to my bosses and being like, man, I don't want to leave.
You're like, but I made it.
Can you get within like 10% of this? Like, I will take less money to stay here. Just get close.
Yeah.
And my boss was like, you need to go, man. And that's how I got in oil and gas, and it just progressed from there. And I mean, growing up in Oklahoma, I mean, actually going back. So in college, I went to Oklahoma City University.
Yeah.
Chesapeake helped pay for my college. I mean, like, I thought when I graduated, they're gonna have a job waiting for me. Honestly,
yeah.
I was a Chesapeake scholar, and like they were sending me like, congrats on your great quarter. I mean, I had a 3.7 overall GPA, so I had
That's cool. I didn't know they had a scholarship. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they put a that's part of how I paid for school. Yeah. So I mean, but and like they talk to you, and stuff like that, and you think that you're gonna have a job there, and then
Did you ever get to meet Aubrey?
I never did.
No. Okay.
I wish I could have, man. There's something about being in a room with those people. Like, I've been in the room with Harold quite a few times now from being at Continental, and they have an aura, and it's hard to explain. Have you been in the room with Aubrey?
No, but I've always heard the stories. Like, I always hear like when he was hiring, he would meet everybody individually. Yeah. He would ask you for your name, ask you for your high school, and then he would just remember it. So you would be walking around campus and be like, hey, Travis, what's up? Like, how are the Ducks or whatever? Like, he would remember even the mascot. Yeah. Like, just that blows my mind, right? Most people are like, oh, I'm terrible with names or whatever. But he would literally meet every hire. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Harold does that too at Continental when you go there. They have a new hire breakfast, and you're in the room with every executive in the company. So every high level, senior VP and president, and then Harold himself are in there, and you go and eat with them, and it's really weird because they sit there and rib each other the entire time. Really? So it's all jokes the entire time, and it's like, welcome to Continental, here's our culture, and it was just so warm and inviting. So I do love that about Continental.
And I've heard that their sort of like thing is they've never had layoffs, right?
Never at a large level that I'm aware of. I mean, they've had significant firings, with different things and stuff over time, but never a true layoff.
Like
and
a mass layoff.
Yeah, and it's because we run so lean. I mean, our entire IT department, 97 people.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Compared to X amount of employees, what are we talking?
Well, whenever I went to Devon back in 2014, they had 600 something IT employees.
Really? Okay.
So significantly less.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So, I mean, that's a big part of it is we're way leaner. We don't get all the cool toys always and stuff like that, but we don't have layoffs. And it's totally worth it to me for that. I have a little girl now. I can't afford to. Yeah. Lose
we haven't even talked about that. So now you're married, you have a little girl, right? Yeah. I want to hear about how you met your wife because I think it's an interesting story.
Yeah. So back to Hertz. So still to this day, one of the best influences in my life, his name is Ralph McKenzie. He was a supervisor. We reported to the same boss because I was a secretary. Okay. And then whenever I became a systems analyst, they put me underneath him. But he was like a mentor and stuff for me and everything. But he started doing roller derby That was one of his things. He's a coach for the Oklahoma Victory Dolls Women's Roller Derby. I think he still is to this day.
Okay.
But that's always been his thing, is roller derby.
Interesting.
So one day I was like, hey, y'all still doing that? Go out and watch. I'm bored.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, we're actually going to be out at, it was out near Shawnee somewhere, some casino at their auditorium doing a big tournament.
It's like a actual league, right? Like they compete all over.
It's an international sport. Yeah. Women's roller derby is
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. So anyway, so I go out there and I watch it, and I'm like, that's really cool. I mean, next time they do an event, locally, let me know. So they're out in Edmond. We're out there. We're talking. He's like, man, you should totally just come out and become a official or something, or a coach. Like, help me out.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ralph and I had this back and forth whenever I used to work for him, where we vibed about data and stuff, about pushing each other. Like, he's a big reason why I started learning SQL. Like to the advanced level. Like, we always kind of, hey, check out this new cool thing. So
yeah, that's cool.
So we always would feed off each other. And with Ralph, he was just like, yeah, come on, do roller derby. So we're doing this. I became a non-skating official there.
Nice. So he convinced you to be sort of official.
Yeah. and it was so I could learn the sport better. So I'm learning this. I become a non-skating official. Next thing I know, I'm traveling with them. I've traveled all around the country doing non-skating official. Like I've been to Nashville. I've been to Colorado.
Man.
I've been to South Carolina. What else? I've been to Dallas multiple times.
I hear you have a nickname.
My nickname? Oh, yeah. So going back to that, some background. The way this happened is my middle name is Shade. Legitimately, I can show you my driver's license. My middle name is Shade.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
100% bona fide.
I didn't know that piece of the story.
Yeah, it's a family name.
All right.
So in roller derby, no one goes by their real name.
Yeah.
It's just a tradition. You get a nickname.
Nicknames everywhere.
So we were actually sitting at some bar just hanging out and stuff. And I'd been part of roller derby for 8 months at this point, probably. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to get a nickname and stuff. I'm like, Travis is fine. I'm cool. They're like, no. And then one of the other non-skating officials who's there with us, her name was Hattie. She's like, his middle name's Shade, and they came up with Shady AF. Nice. So that became it's a really fun official name.
It just worked out.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was like your actual name, though.
Yeah. So that's how that whole thing came about. But yeah, everyone thought things Eminem reference. Not at all. No. It's my middle name is Shade. So
so you just met your wife sort of being the official, or what happened?
Yeah. So through roller derby, I learned how to skate. Learning how to skate as an adult is really rough, just so you know.
I bet.
It hurts so bad whenever you fall, man, on those roller skates. And you go really fast on that rink.
Where did you train? Did you train there? Or where'd you learn?
Yeah. The girls taught me how to skate. They have new recruits, so I went through all that training and stuff that they put the new people through.
Oh, okay.
Learning how to skate.
I bet they gave you crap left and right.
Oh yeah, yeah. And through that, I became really close to a girl named Des. And Des one day was like, "So, what type of girls do you like?" And I'm like,
"Nice."
And anyway, Des and I were talking and stuff, and I don't hear anything about it for a long time afterwards. Evidently, afterwards, she goes and talks to Bridget, who's my wife, and is like, what type of guys do you like? And she's like, what do you think about this guy? And, evidently it took her a while. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to date this. But anyway, she breaks Bridget down and was like, and Bridget's like, well, if you ask me out, well, we can go on a date and, try it at Des's insistence. And the next thing you know, we go on a date and it just clicks. And man, that's
awesome.
A year later, we get engaged and we get married like a month after that. We got married in a month. Planned an entire wedding
in a month.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we did it in my parents' backyard. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And it's just
it's crazy how life happens where you're just like a hunch, like, hey, I'm bored. I just want to go check this out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you find your wife there.
Yeah. Single dudes looking in the camera.
Yeah.
Find a hobby that women do. Don't go do boxing because no chicks are going to be doing that.
Right.
Women's roller derby. Great opportunity.
That's where it's at.
And I'm not saying to do it, I never did it to find a wife. Right. I did it for fun. I was pretty insistent on not dating a roller derby girl for a long time because I didn't want to ruin that. It was just fun. It was an outlet for me.
Well, you already Shade AF, so I mean.
Yeah. But I mean, roller derby it was fun. We, traveled around the country. Yeah. I mean, but
You're still doing it? Or?
I'm not anymore.
Okay.
My wife and I were talking one day, and we're just not enjoying this anymore. And what happened is, in roller derby, it's a volunteer, there's not sponsors really for it. I mean, you have a couple, but not really. So it's the league's all done internally. And some of the people that got involved in leadership there just kind of ran us off. My wife is a police officer. Another fun fact about her.
Okay.
She's a cop for Oklahoma City. She's a lieutenant. So some of the anti-cop stuff kind of popped up, and the roller derby crowd is very, very into the, man, I hate to say the word, but liberal. I don't know a better word for it. But it's very, very that direction.
Okay.
My wife and I are both very moderate, but the anti-cop rhetoric really kind of ran us off too.
That was tough.
And also the anti-oil and gas stuff.
Okay.
So we just kind of felt singled out at times. And I remember we were laying there when they were like, "Are you having fun still?" Because you spend a small fortune doing this. Like, you're traveling around the country on your own money.
Right.
You're, going to practice 3 times a week. We were driving out to Norman. So I live in Yukon.
Yeah.
So I'm driving 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back, 3 times a week.
It's dedication.
Yeah. And I loved it. I mean, I don't regret it for a second. But yeah, we're spending a ton of money and we just weren't having as fun with it anymore. And it wasn't the same. And we were just like, let's stop. But I still love those people over there. There's a bunch of really good people doing it. I made a bunch of really good friends. So
that's cool. That's an awesome story. Like, it just worked out. You met your wife. I mean, that's cool.
Not a whole lot of people, roller derbies are a very random world, but it was fun.
Yeah. The other thing you're into is like Taekwondo, right?
Growing up, that was my sport. I never really did team sports. I did Taekwondo.
Okay.
I think I was in 4th grade when I started. It was so good for me. Like, because Taekwondo, it's like jiu-jitsu, you learn how to fight. Taekwondo, you learn discipline.
Okay.
You break boards, you do sparring and stuff, but it's, it's a very kicky sport.
Do they have a belt system too, or how do you progress there?
Yeah, you have your normal belts and stuff. I mean, whenever I was 16, I got my black belt. When I was around 18, I got my 2nd degree black belt.
Cool.
After that, I went to college and kind of fell off. Actually, right before my daughter was born, like probably 8 months before that, I tried to go back for a little while. I'll tell you right now that 10 years elapsed or so between there.
Yeah.
A little more than 10 years. Man, I'm not as flexible as I used to be.
Although you've like built this crazy gym at your house.
Oh yeah.
And you're super active, right?
Yeah, it's just a different type of movement and stuff. Like, if you want to go bench press or deadlift or something, we can do that. Like, let's go. But when you start talking about kicking above your head really fast, a lot of times it's a completely different workout. Tough. And I love it. Like, I still want to go back again at some point. Ashley's Taekwondo. Shout out Chad Lee. That's his son now. It's crazy. Actually, whenever Chad, who's now instructing there, whenever he was 4 years old, I actually helped teach him some.
Oh, really?
So it was a really weird moment, full circle. And if I go back there and now he's in charge.
That's cool. Where's their sort of location at?
It's over off 39th and Council.
39th and Council. Okay.
But man, it's so good for kids. I mean, it's not your MMA fighting. But it was great. I mean, we got hit with sticks a lot, but they don't do that anymore.
Explain that. Yeah, I like how you just slipped that in. Like, what does that mean exactly? Hit by sticks.
Master Lee, he was from Korea. Old school South Korean dude.
Yeah.
You were acting up. He had bamboo sticks. You're gonna
like
get whacked.
Literally, like hit.
Like, not like in the head. Like, it was in the legs or whatever and stuff. But like, and things like he'd make you go sit in the corner and hold it above your head, till you in timeout, stuff like that. But like, it was very disciplined and like it was great for me. Like, looking back at it. Yeah. I'm not saying you should beat kids at all. Right. And he never beat us. But it was definitely.
It's like a discipline type thing.
And like what he did is he would take a kendo stick, but then split the ends. So when you tap it, all those ends hit each other. Okay. It makes like a big crack noise, like a whip almost. Yeah. So it's really scary. And it scares you a lot more than it hurts. But definitely though, like. Yeah. I mean, those black belt classes, we got intense at times.
And you got into like gym stuff too, right? Like hardcore gym.
In college, my dad got me into it. Actually, we had a personal trainer for a couple of years in college. My dad dime. Thank you, Dad. Nice. But we were working out with a bunch of bodybuilders. Actually, a guy named Vince Wright, who's Mr. Oklahoma, actually at one point for super heavyweight, like big O dude. Really? That was one of our trainers. The guy named Dustin was my trainer. Vince was my dad's, but we'd all go to the gym and stuff all the time. And man, I lived there for like a good couple years, doing all supplements, getting, super lean and stuff. Did you do,
what's this high intensity, crazy?
The
CrossFit. So tell me about sort of the gym experience, right? So
it's a really interesting culture. I mean, it's people go in there and work their butts off, and it was really good to learn how to do that. Push as hard as you can, get rid of stress and stuff. I learned how to lift from those dudes. It was great.
Cool.
So
that's pretty cool. So you've kept that up.
Yeah.
You know, you've got your music, and then you've been into shoes too, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of shoes do you collect?
Really, I don't know. I just enjoy interesting shoes. Like, I've been digging some Jordans. Actually, there's a pair of Jordans dropping on the 8th. I don't know when this podcast will drop, but
which Jordans?
The Zion Voodoos.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've checked those out, but they're looking really slick. Like right now, I'm rocking some Tallies from Adidas, which are really fun.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. Shoe culture is really fun for me. It's something that's just attainable.
Yeah. So you're not into like Nike specifically or Adidas specifically. You just kind of whatever's cool.
Yeah. It's just a vibe. Like I don't care about the value of it so much. Like the last pair of Jordans I bought were the gray and black shadow exterior ones where you can see the foam exposed.
Okay.
You can. I think they actually went for sale today again. Like they had a shock drop today on those, so they're not like super rare.
Yeah.
I mean, I also have a pair of Travis Scotts. You know. So, I mean, I have a couple different Jordans. There's the fun aspect of trying to go for a drawing.
Yeah.
But
so you are on the app trying to get the drop?
Oh yeah. I'll try to do that. But like, I'm not
I've never won any of those.
I mean, I've won a couple Yeezys on Confirmed over the years. And then the Travis Scotts I got recently, which I'm almost afraid to wear those ones.
Yeah. Are you the type of guy that wears all the shoes?
Oh yeah. If I'm not going to wear it, I'm going to sell it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to have something just to look at. I think that's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
They made them to sell them. The designers want you to wear them. Right. I promise you. Like.
Yeah, but some of those are so pricey, right? That people are like, "Oh, I just want to leave them dead stock or whatever."
But that's why I buy them retail. Like I don't buy above retail.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to be afraid of it. You know, and if I'm afraid of it, then I don't need to wear it. Like.
True.
So that's always my attitude with it. I mean, really, honestly, not gonna lie. Your Yeezy, I think, were they turtle doves you had? Or
I've had a bunch, so I don't know which ones.
It was the first ones I think you got when we were working at Devon. I remember you wearing them to work all the time. Yeah. And those were like just mind-blowingly cool to me at the time because they were just so different and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'd honestly say you're probably the first intro to the shoe culture.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
So like, I'm responsible for this bad habit all of a sudden.
Yeah. My wife probably, when she hears, is going to hate you.
Yeah. Nice. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think it just kind of goes hand in hand with like the music and the shoes and everything. Like it's a whole culture. And then I DJ too. So I didn't have a chance. Like I was destined to be into shoes, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of which, all the different culture, look at what you've done, man, since we worked. I remember, so just so y'all know, whenever Luis and I were working, he was telling me this vision he had. And he's like, we're going to do podcasts. Then I'm going to do this app. I'm going to have a radio station. And I'm going to, he's starting to DJ some and stuff. But like,
right.
You've turned it into, man, you have like this empire starting now. And it's
I don't know about that,
ever.
But I mean, like I'm definitely a dreamer. So you probably like listen to a bunch of my random like projects that I wanted to do.
And you've done them all. Yeah. Like everyone talks about it. Yeah. Everyone, you actually did it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like fist pumping all the time when I see your stuff on Facebook or something. Like,
that's awesome.
That's my dude. Like,
yeah, I appreciate that.
He claimed this and he spoke it, but he did it.
Yeah.
And like, dude. That's awesome.
Thanks for that. I mean, it's been a struggle. Like we're still building it as we go. I definitely never feel like we've like made it or anything. Like it's a struggle.
Never stop. But dude, it's awesome still.
Yeah. Thanks for checking it out for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we are getting the mark here that we hit our time. I know we still can talk about a bunch of stuff. So we definitely want to have you back if you ever want to come back. Like the invite's always here for sure.
Yeah, awesome, man. I absolutely just anytime. I love kicking it and stuff.
Cool. And we can definitely like have a geek out session of just specific albums that are about to drop. Because another thing that we do is like Fridays, we're like, sort of like messaging us. Have you listened to this yet? Have you listened to this guy's project yet? Like we're always like geeking out on music Fridays, right?
Oh yeah. No, definitely. They're every couple weeks at least we're going to message each other about something, it seems like. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate the conversations.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that everybody watching the pod is going to get a little glimpse of that, of us geeking out. So thank you for that. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the super talented Travis Shinn on the Maverick Podcast. Keep grinding because in dreams we trust.